right, welcome back for another episode of In Case You Missed It this week in GovTech. We've had an active week and, in fact, an active month in the GovTech market. And we've got some exciting news and exciting breakdowns that we're going to do with our special guest here in a moment. But to Ben and Jed, what's been happening in this market segment over the last month? Ben, I know you've been tracking all these deals. What are you seeing?
Yeah, it's been an extremely active month, both in terms of fundraising and mergers and acquisitions. But yeah, possibly the most active M&A month that we've seen since we started the GovTech 100. So toward the beginning of the month, we had Tyler Technologies acquired VendEngine. They do corrections management, so things like commissary, financial management, communications for inmates. Granicus had a rare double deal where they acquired Open Cities and Bang the Table, announced both of those at the same time, and they're kind of expanding their data capabilities, their citizen engagement capabilities with that one. Vera Mobility acquired Redflex, which makes them a very large international traffic enforcement vendor. So think about things like police radar guns, tolling, red light cameras. OpenGov acquired ProcureNow, which we're going to talk about a little bit more. And then just this morning, we found out that Archive Social acquired Next Request, which is just a very natural progression for them because Archive Social is about archiving social media posts of public officials, and Next Request is about Foia requests. And you know, one of the big reasons to archive social media posts is because they form part of the public record that is available under Foia law.
Jed, I know you've been on a number of these conversations too, so you're seeing a lot of market activity. We've had a lot of conversations. What do you make of all this?
You know, I'm a newcomer to this, honestly. You know, Ben is definitely the expert on the business side, but I will say, you know, I haven't been working in government technology for as long as Ben, but in my short time, I can also say this is the most activity I've ever seen. And, you know, I'm just really interested in how governments will continue to use these different tools as these different business deals get made. It'll be really interesting to see what this does for citizens, you know, specifically. So that's really the angle that I'll be watching over the next several months.
Yeah, it's been an active month from a investment standpoint as well. I mean, last year, as we announced at our State of GovTech event last week, you know, we saw just over $200 million raised in venture capital. Up to date, year to date, we've seen over $700 million raised by U.S. GovTech companies in our markets. So incredible times. But as we mentioned before, we're here to break down some breaking news with some innovative companies. And yesterday, GovTech broke that OpenGov was jumping into procurement with the acquisition of ProcureNow. And we're excited to have on Zach Bookman, co-founder and CEO of OpenGov, Dave Gerdminian-Wong, co-founder and CEO of ProcureNow, and Tao Hill, Chief Customer Officer for ProcureNow. We're going to bring them all in now and have a fun kind of conversation and fireside chat to hear how this deal is going to change the market. All right, I think everyone is front stage now. So thanks everyone for carving some time out to join us.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
And you know, Tao, you've been on previous episodes of In Case You Missed It. So I think we're gonna have to like get some swag to send you because you might have broken the record for like the most episodes that you've been on. But let's start first with the ProcureNow team. You know, we've talked previously about your market approach, but for those that are watching for the first time, tell us a little bit about how you are approaching procurement in the GovTech market today.
More than happy to. Hey, Dustin, Ben, Jed, good to see you again. I totally wasn't expecting to be back on so quickly, but a lot of really wonderful things are happening, as you guys have mentioned, and we're just happy to be here. So ProcureNow, the reason why we as a company decided to go down this route of helping governments in public procurement is because we saw that there were actually still some big problems that needed to be solved. You know, problems like the massive effort that goes into writing RFPs and bids and just how much time that takes and how much drag that creates on really, really important government projects. And the fact that we're able to decrease that amount of time by 75 at least %. So we saw that as a big challenge. We also found that like vendors were just having a hard time making sense of these really important but also extremely complex projects. And then on top of that, adding like complex systems that essentially just put a lot of barriers in the way of suppliers being able to respond in a consistent and compliant way. And then that led to, hey, what about the evaluation teams? Like if you're presenting evaluation teams like a bunch of binders, that are all formatted a different way, then it's really hard for folks to just evaluate things, consistently and objectively. And then finally, just we wanted to start a company that made customers feel like that they not only were supported, but they were being listened to. We've got some wonderful technologists and engineers who are able to really convert ideas from our customers into reality. And we just wanted to offer that to the public procurement community, and in effect offer that to to all of local government.
So my question is going to be for Zach specifically. Yesterday, you announced some exciting news that OpenGov would be acquiring ProcureNow. I was wondering if you could share a little bit more about this new shift and what it means for the wider GovTech marketplace, as well as existing OpenGov customers.
Well, I'm thrilled that OpenGov and ProcureNow have joined forces. Dave and Tao are incredible leaders, technologists, and they've built the most modern, complete multi-tenant procurement and contract management solution in the market, and are being recognized by the top procurement officials across the country as having done so. We think it's a direct fit with what we're doing with the OpenGov ERP cloud, which is modern, all cloud, all integrated vision for essentially the back office. We have budgeting and planning, financials, and what we call citizen services, which is permitting, licensing, and code enforcement. So 3 application suites on a reporting and transparency platform, which now 1,000 governments across the country have been exposed to and used. And so procurement, as Tal would put it, you budget for what you need, and then you have to go buy it, and then you have to track it in your financials, and you can see very clearly the potential for integration, not to mention making it easier for our nation's administrators to fall in love with one vendor, buy more from that, get the integrated cloud experience. So we're just absolutely thrilled at the value proposition that we can deliver for customers, and particularly impressed with the growth that Dave and Tao have produced in the last couple of years as their software platform has reached some level of maturity that many of the top procurement officials in the country are buying it and getting tons of value out of it.
I wanted to ask the ProcureNow team, this is a huge step, honestly, or obviously from a business perspective, from personal perspective, and you're joining a new company. So I wanted to hear from you what you're excited about as you enter into this deal, as well as what it means for your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many reasons to be excited to be joining OpenGov. For us, the fit's just been very obvious. I don't think we could find another partner that's so closely aligned to us in terms of our mission, our vision, and our culture. The reason we started this company was my co-founder and I were looking to get into to do something in government. We wanted to get into government technology and make a difference. And we'd pitch ideas to contacts in governments, and we'd just hear time and time again, well, that's a cool idea, but we'd never actually be able to buy that. We'd never be able to get that through procurement. And we just kept butting up against procurement being this massive roadblock to innovation. So that's why we started the company, to try to fix this huge problem with procurement and make it easier for other companies to innovate. So that ties like almost seamlessly into the origin story for OpenGov and how they got into their initial entry, which was budgeting. So this whole mission of empowering more effective and transparent government is essentially why we started this company. So from a mission perspective, we are 100% aligned from a culture perspective. You know, we share all the same values there in terms of being, you know, cloud first software, a multi-tenant, API-driven architecture, and, you know, just really wanting to modernize an industry and give government workers best-in-class technology, and then envision where they're going. You know, we're really honored to be the procurement partner for OpenGov. I think we can fill a major piece of the puzzle, you know, sitting between budgeting and financials. It's where procurement comes in. So, you know, being able to go to a single company, a leader in the space like OpenGov, for all your ERP needs makes so much sense. So, yeah, I mean, that's a long way of saying we are extremely excited to join OpenGov. In terms of what our customers can expect. So, you know, in the interim, there won't be too big of change for them. We'll be, you know, growing the team pretty rapidly, so they can expect a higher level of innovation and support. The entire ProcureNow team is going to be joining us at OpenGov, so they'll continue to have access to our amazing staff as always. I think there's some really interesting integrations that we'll be, you know, undertaking probably in the medium term, so they can also look forward to some really tight, seamless integrations between the different OpenGov product lines.
Fantastic. So, you know, Zach, I've got a question for you around, you've seen a lot of impact from the pandemic, and it actually accelerated the need for agencies to have these integrated, interoperable platforms like OpenGov to meet their modernization needs across a variety of disparate departments. So I'm curious, you know, what the impact has been for you and kind of what you're seeing there. Is this next normal or kind of post-pandemic era continuing to stress the importance of these integrated platform plays?
I think it's a new world order. The pandemic's been really bad for the world, and it's been good for cloud software. Why? There's a bunch of converging forces going on. There was already a cloud transition. I mean, it probably even started back when Tao was with Granicus, but we started OpenGov in 2012. We saw the cloud needed to and was coming to government, and the wheels turned slow. And the pandemic hits and the cloud transition is upon us. Number two, work from home, remote, virtual opportunities for your organization or workplace, absolutely critical in government. And they were unprepared, and they moved very fast to get prepared. Number three, we're seeing a sad but real uptick in cybersecurity, ransomware attacks. And it's very real, and it's causing a lot of problems for government. And the cloud is more secure than having that server in your basement. You know, the HVAC pipe is dripping on, and that's where your data is, and that's it. Number four, citizen expectations continue to rise, and business expectations. You need to get outdoor dining permits, or I can buy a ticket on my phone. How come I can't get my permit on my phone? And then, you know, those four come together, and I would say five is the aging out of legacy technology. And it's related to your question, Jed, which I didn't get to, which is what does this mean for the market? We're seeing tremendous consolidation in the market. It's acknowledging that actually governments can be very good buyers, very good customers, and the GovTech companies, the vendors that serve the community of governments, can be very good businesses. We're taking a very differentiated approach. Most of what's going on in the market is buying customer footprint, buying revenue mass, smushing it together, firing the back office, putting some lipstick on it with an investment bank, and trying to flip it to the next biggest buyer. That is not the business we are in. That's not the game we are playing. We are playing the building of technology that's going to deliver great value for customers for many, many years. And we're spending a lot of time and energy, and frankly, probably more R&D budget as a percentage of the overall company than any player in the industry, in an effort to produce an all-cloud, all-integrated ERP. And that's modern multi-tenant suites like procurement, contract management, budgeting and planning, digital services, as you called it, or what we call citizen services. That's permitting, licensing, and code. And of course, the big kahuna, the financial system with your GL and your AR and your AP and so much else. So we see no end to the possibility for delivering the cloud to governments and you just have to be really thoughtful and thinking long term about how to build the technology and deliver it in a way that can engender maximum impact for our nation's public leaders and their residents and citizens.
Zach, thank you so much for providing all that perspective. And I'm just hearing cloud, 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 which is really appropriate for my next question, which is for Tao and Dave here. So you guys have taken a cloud-first approach to your platform, which provides, well, it synergizes quite well with OpenGov's cloud approach. So from your perspective, why is cloud such a critical approach for delivery in government?
Jed, as you mentioned, such a great question and very timely. And one of the things that, as Zach had alluded to in my days at Granicus back in 2006, that people didn't know about the cloud, right? It was still very software licenses that were installed on PCs and maintenance costs and warranties and and those types of things. And so I was able to go through this transition with government in the beginning of helping them understand that all the benefits that you get from a cloud approach, and what those benefits are. First of all, like the speed, for example, like speed to the end user, reliability of the service, the availability of the service. Like you want it to be available. Some of the services, 24/7. And these days, of course, like concerns around cybersecurity, protection against attacks. These are all things that only before very large agencies with large pipes to data centers in their basements with false floors and temperature controlled rooms we're able to do. But now we're all able to share the same infrastructure, and because of that we can share costs. And we can offer the same thing to a smaller suburb city that we can to that the larger cities can, and everyone can just pay their fair share. And for that fair share, I like to describe it as like sliding scale for what a government agency can afford. They get the same world-class software. For us, the city of Santa Monica can get the same exact software that the city of West Sacramento has, and just get all the same features and all the same things that I just talked about for their fair share of the price. I mean, that's and governments they are different from agency to agency, but a lot of their services are the same, and so we might as well take advantage of that economy of scale. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why cloud first is should be a priority.
Zach, I wanted to touch on something that we talked about a little bit before during our interview for the story about this procurement, which was the idea of the platform company. And OpenGov has grown a lot over the years, kind of building out piece by piece, and now it's to the point where you have this sort of end-to-end process from budgeting to procurement to financial. So I just was wondering if you could talk a little about your approach to that platform concept as a business.
Well, great, sure. It is a platform, and it starts with the reporting, the data management, the access control, the APIs, the security, the transparency, and that comes from the underlying platform. And then you have your application suites, which can help you run a more effective and accountable public works department when it comes to citizen services, or a budgeting group, or a financial office. So yeah, we are analyzing heavily and getting tons of customer feedback, and spending lots of time with our customers through their direct feedback, customer advisory boards, every mechanism we can. Both in R&D and go to market. And then pretty much what Tao talked about is trying to be as responsive as physically possible. The challenge rises as the company's gotten a lot larger. We have hundreds of employees. I think David is a fabulous technologist and has done an incredible job of doing that with his customers. And we want to continue that tradition, both with OpenGov procurement, but also, with every other product line we have. So it's all about what else do you need? What do you need in the existing software suite that you're using? And what else are you interested in? Because if we can bundle it, if we can integrate it, if we can help the data move if we can take technology and help apply more of it to your life, you get more strategic. You get out of the manual labor, out of the hammer and tongs, out of Excel, out of Word and Access and bubblegum and duct tape, and you get to be more strategic, more of an advisor to your boss or your council, or more able to listen to your community's needs, and let the technology do the hard work, and you do the even harder work, which is figuring out how to allocate resources and where to spend your time and the community's time, i.e. the government's time.
Yeah, that's great. So I have a question for the ProcureNow team around kind of what this transition to the OpenGov family looks like. Anyone want to speak to into that process?
Hopefully just more. We're not messing around. This is not your classic, and no disrespect, I have many friends in the private equity industry, but this is not a private equity play. This is not, hey, how do we remove support and save some money? This is, how do we turbocharge the incredible vision and strategic execution from David and Tal and the whole team. And so we're going to be authorizing more resources, providing as much support, advice as we possibly can. And then, as David said, in the medium term, setting to work on all the integrations. But we want to bring this incredible software to every single procurement office in the country that wants to take advantage of it. And we personally have been blown away. And I can tell you, I'll say nice things about them in front of them. Their customers are among the happiest customers I've ever seen. And as we all know, it's very difficult to please the high standards required to run our nation's cities and counties and state agencies. And these gentlemen and their colleagues have done an amazing job. So we want to continue that and do more of it. David, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Well, thanks for saying that, Zach. That's actually something we take the most pride in, is our customer satisfaction. So it's a testament to the entire team, especially Tao, and all the work you do every day with our customers. So that means a lot to hear you say that, Zach. That's really that's the most important thing we can be doing. So yeah, I mean, to answer your question, Dustin, there's not going to be, too many noticeable changes from our customers' perspective off the bat. Like I said, the entire ProcureNow team will be joining OpenGov, so they'll continue to have access to our great people as always. And then, yeah, in the internally, I think it's going to be a fairly seamless transition given the alignment on mission, vision, culture. So I don't see much transition difficulty there. The biggest change is going to be, just like Zach mentioned, ramping up our hiring. So yeah, we've been growing rapidly over the last 12 months, really, and we see that continuing and then some with this acquisition. So just finding more good people to join the team and continue to build so that we can support more and more customers and make sure our thousands of customers just as happy as our 10th customer. That's really a goal for us.
And if I could just add to that, quickly, it's a concern for every entrepreneurial startup who goes through the process of years of building a customer base that we love and that love us. That when it's time to grow and it's time to make decisions, that we make a decision that we can feel good about, and that we make a decision with someone that we can trust. We of course, we want the first people that we think about is this going to be good for our customers, and does this mean more for our customers? I've been through good acquisitions, bad acquisitions, and everything in between. And to hear Zach, to hear you say what you just said is just a reaffirmation of what we knew all along about what kind of company OpenGov is, and it just makes us even more thrilled and excited and passionate about the fact that we're coming on board with someone who feels exactly the same and has the same kind of energy that we have for doing wonderful things for our governments across the United States. So I got a little emotional when Zach said that, because I was like, yes, how these things can go, but we couldn't be happier that we're sitting here having this conversation today.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a little emotion. And I just want to personally thank all of you, Zach, Tao, and Dave, for coming to speak to us today. I think we all have a really good view into what's going to be going on with OpenGov and ProcureNow into the near future. So we have a really good treat for viewers tomorrow for our episode of In Case You Missed It Tomorrow, which will stream live at noon Pacific or a few minutes afterward. We will be talking to Yarav Bosch, who is the CEO of Flytrex. This is a company that is leading a fascinating drone delivery program in North Carolina. And so we will be asking Yarav about the history of Flytrex, the evolution of the company's drone delivery program, and much more. So tune in tomorrow, and thank you for tuning in today.